There is a specific sound a computer server makes right before its system collapses completely. It is a slow, dying breath from an overheating cooling fan that I have listened to for 13 long years. My name is Valerie, and I was the master technician keeping the digital backbone of Nexus Tech alive while corporate executives played golf and collected massive bonuses. 13 years ago, we started this business inside a dusty garage with 2 folding chairs and endless optimism. I spent endless nights sleeping under a desk while writing the foundational architecture for our primary logistics software on a battered old computer. I gave my health, my youth, and my peace of mind to construct a platform that turned this small startup into a multi-million-dollar empire. Everything changed during an all-hands meeting last Tuesday when our Chief Executive Officer, Brad, stood on stage celebrating our highest quarterly earnings in history. He smiled brilliantly in his custom designer suit while announcing a complete freeze on salary adjustments for senior staff members. I looked at my worn clothes and felt a deep ache in my wrist, realizing that my loyalty was completely unrewarded. The final straw arrived during lunch the following afternoon in the break room. A brand new employee named Derek was boasting to a coworker about his compensation package while showing off his official welcome paperwork. I glanced at the glowing computer monitor and felt my chest tighten when I saw that this inexperienced junior technician was making $20,000 more per year than my current salary. I walked straight into the office of our human resources director, Karen, demanding an explanation for this absurd pay disparity. She folded her hands, offered a condescending smile, and explained that market rates were necessary to attract fresh talent. When I requested a salary adjustment to match the junior staff, she coldly stated that corporate policy prohibited raises during a freeze, adding that I could accept it or leave. Her harsh ultimatum cleared away years of misguided devotion in an instant. I quietly walked back to my workstation, gathered my personal belongings into a backpack, and drafted a brief resignation message stating my departure was effective immediately. At 5 in the evening, I placed my access badge on the empty keyboard, stepped into the elevator, and walked away without uttering a single dramatic word to anyone in the building. During the quiet drive home through the heavy evening rain, anxiety began to creep into my thoughts about my uncertain financial future. Once inside my dark house, I wandered into the spare room and pulled open a dented metal filing cabinet from our earliest startup days. Deep in the back of a dusty drawer, I located an old blue plastic folder containing our original founding agreements from more than a decade ago. My heart skipped a beat as I carefully reviewed Section 8 of the agreement drafted during our severe financial crisis back in 2011. To prevent me from taking a lucrative job offer at a rival corporation, Brad had signed a contract granting the company a revocable license to my proprietary core platform. The agreement explicitly stated that if my employment ended, all rights to the underlying architecture would instantly revert to me. I immediately contacted my longtime friend Nathan, a brilliant corporate contract attorney who loved holding greedy executives accountable. He rushed over to my house, reviewed the yellowed paperwork line by line, and confirmed that the legal logic was absolutely airtight. Because I had resigned rather than being terminated for cause, the company no longer possessed legal authorization to run the core software that powered their entire enterprise network. Together we drafted a formal legal notice revoking all licensing rights and demanding an immediate cease and desist of software operations. Before sunrise the following morning, I used my unrevoked badge to enter the silent executive floor and placed the sealed envelope directly onto the desk chair of Brad. I wrote the words market rate across the paper envelope in heavy black ink before walking out into the fresh morning air forever. Nathan and I sat at a diner across the street, eating breakfast while waiting for the automated 8 in the morning security verification sweep. Every month, I had manually executed an integrity script to renew the system security authorization tokens. Because I was no longer an employee to run that routine script, the system automatically assumed an unauthorized status and instantly restricted network traffic down to a tiny fraction of normal capacity. Within minutes, every client dashboard turned bright red as warehouse operations came to a sudden grinding halt across the entire country. My phone began ringing non-stop with frantic text messages from junior technicians and urgent missed calls from Brad. When I finally answered his furious screaming, I calmly informed him that my departure automatically revoked the software license, meaning the company was currently committing massive willful copyright infringement by running my code. Brad desperately tried to appeal to our long history, offering to match the junior salary on the spot if I would just restore system access. I informed him that the time for salary negotiations had passed when his human resources department dismissed my value. This was now a formal intellectual property acquisition, and my attorney Nathan was handling all financial terms necessary to purchase the permanent rights to my proprietary software engine. By early afternoon, news of the massive system outage leaked to major tech publications, causing public chaos and threatening major corporate contracts. Recognizing the immense financial disaster unfolding, board chairwoman Eleanor bypassed Brad entirely to contact me directly. She demanded to know what it would take to resolve the crisis, and I stood firm, demanding full market value for my software along with an official statement clearing my name of any wrongdoing. Faced with losing tens of millions of dollars in client cancellations, the corporate board surrendered to my legal demands before the end of the day. They signed a comprehensive transfer agreement purchasing the core software rights for $3.2 million, while issuing a public release citing executive oversight regarding licensing renewals. Once the wire transfer was fully verified by my bank, I executed the remote command script to restore full operational capability. The sudden shift in my financial reality felt completely surreal as I watched the status indicators on my screen return to a peaceful, steady green. The corporate board reorganized leadership shortly afterward, stripping Brad of his executive authority and raising company-wide salaries to prevent future departures. I chose not to return for my remaining desk items, asking the office staff to dispose of everything while I focused entirely on starting a completely fresh chapter. 6 months later, I am living comfortably in a quiet coastal town, waking up to sunny ocean views instead of fluorescent server rooms. The chronic physical pain from years of endless stress has disappeared, replaced by a profound sense of inner peace and freedom. I learned that my self-worth should never be determined by people who treat loyalty as a weakness, and standing up for myself was the single best decision I ever made.